Hi, friends. My name is Megan E. Freeman, and I am the author of Alone and Away. And Alone and Away are companion novels in that they are set at the exact same time. Alone tells the story of a girl who is left behind when the entire town is evacuated and abandoned, and she has to figure out how to survive by herself after everybody leaves. Where Away is the story of four kids who are all evacuated to the same shelter, where they start to unravel the mystery of the imminent threat that caused the evacuation in the first place. Now, if you've read Alone, you might remember that it's a novel in verse. All of the story is told from one character's point of view, and it's all in poetry. There's not very much text on the page. It's all in poems. Whereas Away has four different characters and four different points of view, and each character has their own form when they are on the page. So I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So one of the characters is Ashanti. And if you've read Alone, you might remember Ashanti is one of Maddie's friends in Alone who can't come to the sleepover. So Ashanti is told in poetry, and you can see that her poems spread out across the page, and it's also written in italics. So it's kind of pretty to look at on the page. And Ashanti loves Greek mythology. So lots of references to Greek goddesses and Greek myths show up in Ashanti's pages. Now, another character in the book is Grandin. Ashanti is 12, Grandin is 14. He's also in poems, but his poems are very different. They don't look nearly as long or as complicated as Ashanti's. And Grandin is a ranch kid. He lives in the mountains and he loves to ranch. And so he doesn't necessarily have a lot to say, but what he does say really matters. And so the words on the page are really important for Grandin, but there aren't very many of them. Then we have Harmony, and Harmony wants to be a journalist when she grows up. So Harmony's pages show up like a newspaper article, and you can see there's a headline, and there's the actual text of the page. And she also writes letters to her aunt, who is a journalist. And so some of her voice shows up in correspondence as well. And then finally, we have Teddy. And Teddy wants to be a filmmaker. So all of Teddy's pages show up as screenplay. It's almost like we're reading the movie of Teddy's life. And these four kids become friends, and they pool their resources and their strength, and they use them together to solve the mystery of the imminent threat and try to understand what's really going on with the evacuation. So I thought I would read you a little bit from Away, and you're going to hear the different voices and the different formats of each of the different characters. So this is the part of the story where they're all being evacuated. Their different families in the different places where they live are all being evacuated. And Ashanti has the flu. She has been homesick, and she's got a fever, and she's feeling sick to her stomach. So she's really kind of out of it. Saturday, 12:31 a.m. Ashanti. Wake up, baby. Mom's voice far away. Baby, wake up. We gotta go. Brain too hot for skull. Joint muscles moan. Pop leans in the doorway. Says something about the car. Sweet girl, we're evacuating. Shoes find feet. Sleeves catch arms. What's going on? Mom tucks me into the back seat. Pop loads suitcases, Mom's medical bag. The night against glass chills me. Saturday, 12:31 a.m. Car interior night. Medium shot on Graham and Teddy sitting in a long line of traffic stopped at a military checkpoint. Through the front windshield, taillights are visible far into the distance. Graham is frowning. Teddy, why do you think we're being evacuated? Graham, fiddling with the staticky radio dial. I have no earthly idea. We never get good reception on this stretch of road. Teddy, that soldier looks like LL Cool J in Toys. Graham, is there ever a time when your brain's not stuck on the movie channel? Teddy, looking at his phone. Nope. Graham rolls down her window and calls to a soldier wearing full tactical gear. Graham, can you tell us what's going on? Soldier leaning down. This whole area is under mandatory evacuation orders, ma'am. All civilian personnel are being diverted to Ute Junction. Teddy, holding up his phone. Is it true that a pipeline exploded? Is that why we're being evacuated? Soldier, I can't comment on that. Everyone just needs to follow instructions. Head to the train station and they'll have more information for you. Graham, are we in danger? Soldier, backing away and directing traffic. Imminent threat in the area. Please drive forward. Graham slowly pulls forward in the traffic jam of cars. Teddy takes out his camcorder and begins filming. Saturday, 2:13 a.m., the highway between Feathermore and Timberline. Grandin. Our truck follows the deputy's taillights. Others follow ours. No trailers allowed, no stock. Who will care for the animals? How long will we be away? Dad seethes. Ma worries her wedding ring in circles. Shadowy elk graze the edges of the road, lift their heads at our strange parade. In the silence, filled with dread, no one speaks. Saturday, 3:45 a.m., train station Ute Junction. Exterior still dark. Medium shot on Teddy and Graham sitting on the curb outside the train station, surrounded by people and luggage. Red Cross volunteers pass out coffee and cartons of apple juice. Public address recording, voiceover. Cell phones have been compromised and are not safe to use. As a matter of state security, all cell phones must be deposited in designated receptacles located throughout the station. Compliance is mandatory. Graham, this doesn't make any sense. Teddy, this is exactly like war games. Graham, oh, Teddy, don't you remember when Matthew Broderick almost starts World War III because the video game he thinks he's playing is actually a supercomputer with artificial intelligence capable of starting a real war? Graham, oh, please, I can't even figure out how to adjust my notifications. I don't think my phone is going to start a war. Soldiers pass by. Gas masks hang from their backpacks. Teddy and Graham look at each other. Graham takes out her phone and holds her hand out for Teddy's. Teddy starts to hand it to her, then stops and removes the SIM card. He tucks it into his backpack, then gives Graham his phone. She walks to a barrel and drops both cell phones inside. Very early Saturday morning. Evacuating residents must lighten loads by Harmony Adams Paul. Red Hawk, Colorado. Before we board school buses to be taken to safety, we are told to consolidate our belongings into one bag each. This reporter's mother leaves extra sweaters and socks folded in a stack and says someone who needs them will find them. But isn't everyone leaving? Who will be left to find anything? I pull out a jacket my dad gave me last Christmas and toss it on a picnic table. The school bus smells like Axe body spray and old socks. We squeeze into one seat and rest our feet on our bags. Pax falls asleep across our laps. I close my eyes too, just for a sec. Dear Aunt Becky, you would tell me to stay awake. A story is unfolding right in front of me. This feels bigger than just curfew or lockdown. Something is happening. When we get back to school, I will have a responsibility to report what I saw. I am recording history for generations of Burton Bulldog 7th graders. Mr. Cedillo would say it's noble work, and I want the byline above the fold. Okay, technically, we don't have a fold. The Bulldog Bulletin is online. I know that above the fold is from the olden days when there were actual newspapers, and it meant that the top headline story was literally like above the fold in the paper. But you and I both know that having a story above the fold is still a big deal. I'm staying awake. Saturday, 5:19 a.m., Ashanti. On the bus, Pop hands me a bottle of water. I rub my fingers on the cap bridges, chase ripples from my skin. Drink, Mom says, hydrate. Hydra, the water serpent slain by Heracles. I drink. In fever sleep, I dream of monsters. Saturday, 7:03 a.m., Timberline Regional Airport, Grandin. At the embarkation point, Dad refuses to give up his cell phone. People around us step back. Ma looks at Dad. Please, honey. He shrugs her away. Soldier doesn't ask this time, Soldier tells. Dad says, come and get it. Two huge men grab him, wrench the phone from his grip. He staggers backward. They turn to Ma and me. We hand over our phones. Dad says no way is he boarding a plane, but there are no planes, only personnel carriers painted camouflage along the runways. They herd us along an inch at a time. Bodies shift forward in waves. I've never swum in the ocean. After this, I never want to. Ma climbs up into a carrier, then my turn. Foot on the step. Dad is behind me until, just that quick, he disappears. Gone. Can't see him anywhere, nowhere, all directions. The undertow pulls me deeper into the truck, a riptide of bodies pushing where I am, away from where I need to be. Then Ma, in my ear, let him go. Glances at the soldier up front, puts a finger to her lips, whispers, think of the stock, the calf. I can't move. Backward, forward, can't move. Trapped. Dad's not afraid to disobey, but I am. What if the threat really is imminent? So that's a little sample from Away. In addition to the screenplay and the poetry and the newspaper articles and the letters, there are also journal entries and press conferences and text messages and all kinds of different formats in this book. And that's why it's called a hybrid novel, where Alone is called a verse novel. But both of them tell the story of these kids' experiences in very different conversations about this evacuation and what happens as a result. I hope if you like adventure stories, if you like stories told in different and unusual formats, that you will check them out. And I hope that if you like them, you will write to me and let me know. Thank you so much.